Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and again I'm playing with the new gloss colours from Dina Wakley that she's released for September 2023. I'm playing in the small craft journal. I'm starting off with some collage paper on my background. I was just kind of having a bit of a play deciding where it was going to go. So a bit of a shocker, I'm going to try and leave some empty space on this page. Not something that I'm always very good at doing. Sometimes it just happens, but this time I thought I was going to kind of try and not fill the whole page. So we'll see how that goes. Actually, I know how that goes because it went all right. It worked. So I'm starting off with this collage paper, sticking it in place using Dina's ultra thick gel medium. I'm just creating like a band of text across the centre of the page, and just using up the bits that I've got left in my hand really. So creating that kind of bit across the middle, and then once that's dry, I'm going in with this connected dot stencil from Dina, and naughty blending tools that keep dropping the sponges off. I need to get some new ones. And I'm just pulling this stenciling across my page. So I'm starting off with quite a monochromatic theme, and then I'm going to add some pops of gloss neon into the circles. This page didn't kind of go how I thought it was going to. I just had an idea that I wanted to start off something like this, and then it just kind of grew from there really. So this is one of my favourite stencils. I like it because it's got these lovely open areas with the little bits of stenciling around the edge, and it's great for doing something like this. It's also great for putting over backgrounds, and with a bit of white if you want to calm a background down. It works brilliantly. So then I am using the dropper, and I am just dropping some of the gloss spray into the circles that are left from the stenciling. I do give them a little bit of a dry in between, just because they're quite runny initially. I did have my art room door open because, you know, obviously this is a plastic. It's not the best idea to be heating it, but I didn't kind of want them to run all over. And knowing how messy I can be, I just knew that I would stick my hand or my arm in it and it would go where I really didn't want it to be. So I love the fact that in some places you can still see the text through the neon pops of colour. These gloss sprays are so much fun to play with, and I think so far I haven't mixed them with other colours to try. I've just played with them on their own, and oh, they're just so lovely. I mean, look how translucent they are, that you can see the layer underneath, and yet you've still got that lovely bright colour. So I was going to use all the colours, and then I decided I'd just stick with Stoked, Radical and Gnarly. And then I was like, what shall I do now? So I added some drips coming down, because, you know, these droppers just shout drips to me really. So that was what I did. Added some drips, and of course the area where there's just the craft paper, that's not primed with anything at all, so the colour doesn't show up quite as bright as it does where the collage tissue paper and the matte medium is, but it still works. It's still, those drips are still there, they're just quite subtle. Okay, and then of course that gets a bit of a dry. So if you're going to do a technique like this, you just need to be a little bit careful that it doesn't bleed through the pages underneath. I was just checking here, I got a little bit of a drip, because when it dries it will glue those pages together. So having had a very bad experience with that, I think there is a video about that on my channel. Yeah, just be a little bit careful. So then I've grabbed this chipboard shape from the Women pack. And now I'm just adding a little bit of white paint on top of the white, just to crisp that up, just so it's a really bright, bright white. And then I'm just going to pick up the shape and just make sure that I've not blobbed any bits of paint around the back because I want it to dry quite quickly so I can stick it onto my page. And then I've popped a bit of paint onto the desktop and I'm just going to stamp some white circles. So I'm going for a bit of contrast now with the bold colours and the black that's there. And I'm just using that lid from the ultra thick gel medium. I did give it a clean because obviously I don't want it gluing itself to the tub. And then I'm going in with a smaller cardboard tube and just stamping some smaller circles on there as well. And then, because I've got some paint left over, I'm just going to add some splatters onto the page as well. So then I felt that the figure was a little bit boring as it was, so I've just grabbed a text stamp and I'm just stamping a little bit of text onto the left-hand side of the figure. Just to add a little bit more interest there, and I'm going to stick her in place using some double-sided tape and a little bit of clear glue as well. Sometimes for things like this I like to use two types of adhesive, so the dry adhesive is great, and then just adding a bit of glue stick or wet glue over the top will just make it stick in place extra well. So she was stuck down. She needed grounding as well because she was floating, so I did draw a little Stabilo pencil line underneath her feet. Then I'm using my dotty stamp and just adding some dots around those edges where my pattern meets the edge of my page. I'm adding a shadow to the left-hand side of the figure, just a kind of smudgy one, using the Stabilo All pencil. These are just such lovely pencils. They're so easy to do this kind of technique with, and it smudges nicely with your finger as well. And then I wanted a quote, so I grabbed the Be Willing stamp set from Dina. And I've just grabbed the quote that says, "Be brave, be bold," because I felt I had been with this page. When I started, I had a vague idea of what I wanted to do, but there were a couple of moments where I wasn't really sure where I was going. And sometimes just, you know, you just keep going and you think, well, okay, I'll do the things that I know work. And then when it was finished, I was quite happy. So this quote kind of sums up this page, really. I did spend a bit of time deciding where to put this quote, like whether it should go over near the figure or in the middle of that page. And in the end, I decided it was going to go down in that space in the left-hand corner at the bottom, because then it wasn't covering up any of that lovely, bold, colourful neon loveliness that's going through the centre of the page. And there we are. There she is in all her glory, the neon, circly, colourful blobby page. So I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. I hope you found some inspiration. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.